It was Sunday morning in Boulder, Colorado, when the community gathered for their weekly Run for Their Lives, which happens every Sunday here also in Central Park West and 91st Street, to bring attention to the Israeli hostages taken on October 7th and remain in Gaza. What began as a run for the lives of the hostages ended up as a run for the lives of the people that gathered in Boulder's Pearl Street Mall. 15 people were injured, 2 critically. And yesterday we learned that 2 of the hostages of the 58 that remained, Judith Weinstein and Gad Chagai, whose lives we have been running for, were recovered from Gaza. The couple were taking a walk early in the morning of October 7th in kibbutz near Oz, and were shot and presumed killed and taken to Gaza that horrible day. Finally, they have been returned home and, please God, laid to rest. So many people have been running for their lives in this world of ours, running for safety to escape the hatred, the violence, the anti-Semitism that is aflame in our country and our world. And so many people are running for their lives to escape war and famine, to find food and shelter. Yes, in Gaza or in the Ukraine, or those in who are now deprived of basic care because of the shutting down of USAID or the slashing of funds to support so many that are at risk in our own country. And we gather here week to week, carrying these heavy burdens, the reality of the viciousness of this world that often seems to be stronger than the goodness and the blessing. We come on Shabbat, I think, or I come on Shabbat, longing for a different feeling, hope, perhaps, a break from the endless cycle of the news. We want to shut off, but it is a real challenge. Parshat Naso continues this week of the census that was begun last week in Parashat Bamidbar, and focuses at the beginning of the parasha on the counting of the Levites, the Leviim who are responsible of caring for the portable Mishkan, the tabernacle. And if you've ever read about these, the Leviim here, they're divided into 3 groups. The Gershonites, the Kahatites, and the Merarites. And Rav Raham of Sachajov describes that each of these families of the Leviim have a distinct way, he says, of dealing with the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, and he defines that by actually something about their name. That's something that's in the root of their name. So he says the Kahatis, the Kahat, Hache, they blunt the evil inclination, that they smash it. And this is the kind of person, he says, who never allows the Yetzer Hara, the inclination, to even enter into their minds. They just push it away all the time. The Gershonites is the kind of person who permits the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, to penetrate into their minds, but they immediately megaresh. They send it off. They evict it before it has a chance to confuse them. And the Merarites, is the kind of person who allows the Yetzer Hara to penetrate and must wage a bitter battle like Maror. That's why they're called the Merarites, according to him, in order to not lead them to carry out forbidden acts so they don't fall prey to it. In some way, it's a cute understanding of the different families of the Leviim. At the same time, he's trying to convey something, is that at different times or with different people, we're all battling the Yetzer Hara, we're all battling the evil inclination. Sometimes it's easier to push it away, and sometimes it actually gets in deep, that we have a bigger battle to wage because it has penetrated us so deeply. I think we often think of Shabbat, rightly so, as a taste of the world to come. It's a day of all light. It's a day of the wedding. It's a day of love and renewal. But to get to that place actually requires a wrestling with where we have been, an acknowledgement to say, okay, the world is so hard and we're dealing with all the brokenness, and in some way we've all been courted by the Yetzer Hara. Like we're all dealing with the wrestling of the evil inclination. And it's tempted us in the world that we're living in to disavow our own humanity, to harden our hearts, to want to run for some lives but not for others, to feed our desires without limits, to distract us from the pain and hardship that is in front of us. And so we arrive Shabbat after Shabbat, and in some way I feel like each Shabbat I'm like, which one am I this week? Am I a kahati? Am I someone who was able to like push it off, to not wrestle, to actually preserve my humanity, to preserve my soul? Am I a Gerari, a Gershonite who's been able to kind of push it away stronger? And then sometimes I feel like I arrive on Shabbat and I'm stuck. I'm living with the toxicity of what it means to live in this world, and it's harder to get it out. And these past weeks have been of those kind. And it's important to acknowledge that we all arrive here not as clean slates in that way. We arrive on Shabbat carrying the burdens of our individual lives and what we've wrestled with in the past week, and also the existence of being in a world as it is so. And there's a prayer that we say in the evenings, the Hashkivenu prayer, that says actually, Adonai our God, Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, Adonai our God, make us to lie down in peace, raise us up again to life, spread over us your shelter of peace. And then it says, V'haser me'aleinu oyev deber v'cherev ra'a v'yagon, V'haser satan milfenenu u'me'acharenu. Shield us from enemies and pestilence, sword, famine, and sorrow, and remove the adversary. Remove the adversary from before us and behind us, and shelter us in the shadow of your wings. Ki el shomreinu matzilenu ata. For you, Almighty, are our protector and our rescuer. And I think this prayer acknowledges that sometimes we have to remove things in order to achieve other things. We have to remove these hardships in order to achieve peace. Peace isn't just the fantasy of everyone coming together, but it actually requires some kind of extraction of the horrors and the pains of the world. And it also, of course, acknowledges that we need protecting from God, and we need to uproot things before we can have and achieve Shabbat and peace. I feel like these days, to get to Shabbat, we have to do some uprooting to what's happened to us during the week. To be in relationship with God is an invitation to do that. To be in connection with community is a way to help take out the negative forces and have Shabbat, which asks us not only to envision a perfect world, but to protect our souls amidst a harsh world and to uproot what has taken hold. That's what Kabbalat Shabbat is about, actually, is to kind of detox from the week, to say that each day in some way, each psalm is a representation of one day of the week, to say, okay, that was Sunday, let's put it aside. That was Monday, put it aside. And to kind of walk through the week and walk through the wrestling that we've been through to transition to be in a place where we might actually welcome Shabbat with some sense of openness and some sense of saying, like, I might be able to find a place of purity once again after the wrestling that I've been through this week. And in doing that, we want to run. We want to run towards Shabbat. We want to run towards a life of goodness, to preserve our Yetzer HaTov, to preserve our good inclination, to run toward dignity and justice, and to run toward God and community. And so may we all have the privilege of not running for our lives in the ways that we see are necessary in this world, but may we all be blessed to run toward a safe and a purposeful and a holy life, and may the only running we do be towards a promised land where no one is afraid.